All right, I just got this comment on my YouTube channel from a live stream that Mark Mansky and I did yesterday over on the WP Minute YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and link this live stream in the show notes below. This is largely off the cuff, literally just reading this. So I figured, why not make an emotional response that is not well thought out on a podcast episode? Because that's what we do here. So in this live stream, we generally talked about AI, like what's next for WordPress, what's next for AI when it comes to like the work that we do, building websites, consulting clients, or just like living in the WordPress ecosystem. The things that I do at my day-to-day role at Gravity Forms is constantly exploring like what customers are looking for, how Gravity Forms can help, fill those needs, what are the pain points, and like trying to look ahead at the market. And of course, from the WP Minute side, I'm largely having interviews, talking to other people doing the same thing. How do we build with WordPress, but also how do we survive in this crazy AI world? This comment from Jason, MK3NN. He says, "You lost me at AI when the machines are taught by people to copy others' work indiscriminately. Value of the original authors is just the cost of a prompt. Everyone wants free until the invoice that pays their check. Just because it's cheap and easy does not mean it's right or just." He says, and he has another comment. He's probably commenting as he's watching. "Let me ask you this question. When are you going to say when you find that one of the models directly copied your work and you spent an enormous amount of time on? There are a lot of us out there still trying to write original code, and you're promoting tools that steal the code as a matter of business and absolutely zero discrimination. Would I share the code with either of you? Probably, but whose choice is it that should be given?" Listen, Jason, and anyone else, I have these same concerns, 100%. But there's a lot of threads of thought here, many of which I don't have the answers to, but I will push back and just ask the questions. First and foremost, I am exploring this as well. Like, what is the sustainability of AI? I'm of the mindset of being cautiously optimistic. That's where I slot myself into this space that we're in right now. I do not think that AI is taking over everything as doomsday, as many people say. And I've talked about this in previous episodes here, largely because humans are slow to adopt this kind of radical change. As I use AI for the stuff that I do, I still don't see it being home run every time I ask it to do something. I am still largely pushing a big boulder up a hill. I realize there are others that are finding a lot of success, but I don't know what that success really is. I see a lot of hype success, but I don't know really where people are winning other than building stuff, saving a bunch of time, and then like talking about it. And then the third thing that I think is really going to slow this down is just the general competition of it all, that these companies will battle each other and try to have the government regulate each other. And it's a mess because they're all going to try to figure out how to make the most money with this stuff. And I think that natural process is going to be the thing that just slows it down. On one hand, they're all going to push to these exciting boundaries, and we're like, oh my God, look at all this stuff. But humans won't adopt any of it or all of it all at once, and every company coming out is constantly in competition with each other. That will actually slow it down because it's a fragmented experience, and you can't get all of it in one place. Like Google and Apple would really have to win to have AI on everyone's phones and computers in order to get this to a level where like the majority of the population can leverage AI. And at that point, like how much power and access do people need for this to be a thing that everyone can use and adopt on a daily basis? Okay, lots of like threads of thought there. All of this to say is, I agree with the fact that you're saying, oh, you're just taking code to, you're just copying other people's code. Well, Google, I mean, hello, have you been using Google for the last 20 years? That was Google's MO for the entire internet. It was to encourage people to use, well, obviously to make websites, to improve the speed and performance of your website. And oh, by the way, let's dangle this carrot of this thing called SEO, where we're not, it was a game. It was literally the biggest MMORPG game that ever existed. It was to say, oh, we got this algorithm over here behind the scenes. You can't figure it out. We'll dangle some stuff out there. You figure it out. And we'll build up this whole industry called SEO, where you can kind of like gamify the system to grow, or what we'll call organic traffic to your website by you trying to figure out the formula of ranking. Oh, but you don't want that? Well, just like Fortnite or World of Warcraft, you can buy your way to that end game by just paying for Google ads, right? That's what the whole freaking foundation of Google was built off of. It was built off of stealing content and tricking people to do structured data and AMP, right? Remember that? This is what Google has done to the internet and all of us as content creators. Taken our data, enriched it, slapped it into their search engine. I'm obviously making generalizations here, so bear with me. And then serving up that content in a faster, more closed platform way when you see that kind of data at the top of search results. Whether that's like business hours, email, website address, these little profile cards on the right-hand side, photos, and other social links. It basically said, hey, over the years, make content, make it fast. Here's how you can help it rank. By the way, you trying to make it rank? Buy our ads. And then as that started to dry out, it was like, oh, we can make more money? Because look at Facebook and Twitter and these social platforms that have these closed wall gardens. They're monetizing data. How do we do that? Oh, let's take the data. Instead of sending that person to the website, let me just show you that data in the search result. And then that people will never visit your website, and they'll just get the results right there. We took your data, and now here we are. All AI has learned off the back of Google. It stole a bunch of data from us, and then it learned from us. So, Jason, Guy, I'm with you. I totally understand what you're saying. Am I encouraging people to go and use this AI stuff? No, I'm not telling people this is what you do and go build your coding career. I'm not saying that. But I'm also looking at this going, I don't think it's going away. It might not take over the world, but it's not going away. And at some capacity, this iteration of coding with AI, I think is here to stay. Like the idea of being able to code faster is here to stay. I can't help it. And first of all, how do we know it's stealing code? We know it's stealing content. Like, stealing content is very easy because if you ask for a top 10 anything in, let's say, ChatGPT or any other platform, I bet you can mirror that to a top ranking blog post that's giving the same 10 results. And in fact, sometimes it cites it. I've yet to see any of these AI platforms cite like a GitHub repo that it's taken from. So I haven't actually seen it. Like, you can say that it's stealing the code, and I'm kind of right there with you. But like, how do you prove it as easy as the content that it's stolen? I don't have the answer for that. I would just push back on that. And let's just go a step further. I'm not a developer, but I've been in open source and I've been in this space for a while. That there's a lot of people who are like me who say they are developers and are not. I refuse to call myself a developer, but I bet if you got 10,000 people in the room that said they were developers, I bet I'm a better developer than a nice chunk of those people, right? Because I think there are people who have built a career off of copying and pasting, going to any online forum or any kind of place that has code snippets. I'm literally forgetting of the site that we would all go to and copy snippets of code right now. It's really aggravating me that I can't remember it in this thread of thought. But there are so many people that have copy-pasted code over the years and called themselves developers. Now just AI is giving it to you in 0.001 seconds. Okay, I'm right there with you with that moral, waving that moral flag, but humans have been doing this for years anyway. So I don't know where you win on that argument. Second, in open source world, I would probably to maybe trigger you a little bit, I would say, well, who cares? Because in open source, this is what it is. It is, here's a set of code. I built it for you. You have access to it. Now go enrich it and reuse it, repurpose it in your project. Now, obviously, with certain licensing, you give a credit back depending on what it is. But in the world of WordPress, it is very common to see big projects forked. People taking chunks of code, doing this and building other products who are directly monetizing it. So to sit back and say, hey, you're encouraging people to build on AI and it's just stealing code from everybody, I get your moral high ground. I totally do. But it's not a point that I think really holds ground in the court of coding AI law. I don't know. But like humans have been doing this forever. We've all been building off of looking at somebody else's work, whether it's code or a blog post. We've all said, look at that person's blog post. Boy, they rank first on Google for that. Let me write something similar. That's the game, and has been the game for code and product forever. And in the offline world, look at that product that sells really well. That Coca-Cola thing is pretty good. How about we make this Pepsi thing? Right? I totally get it. And I totally get the romanticism of you writing code and having something great. I feel the same way as an artist creating audio, video, content, and all this other stuff that I do. I'm 100% there with you. But how much are you going to fight that? And at the end of the day, don't accuse me of like waving the flag to go steal other people's stuff. This is inherently built into these tools that we are using now and experimenting with. In all of the work that I do when I put out videos about AI, I have the same disclaimers. I wouldn't use this in production. Speak with an expert. Speak with your attorney. This is all experimental. I am learning just like you.